Hey guys, MrPokke here, and this will most likely be one of, if not my most, not really war, but I would say thought-provoking Honkai Starbucks video I've ever made in my entire channel. And I do mean this genuinely when I said like no more war, right? I'm over war in 2025. In fact, I sincerely don't think this is a war video unless you choose to make this into a war video. You choose to insert clickbait clickbait titles, clickbait thumbnails, misconstructing my words, just starting war for fun. You choose to want war, then sure, you can twist my tweet into a way that you can deem it as war, right? Or if you are choosing to be offended by the tweet, then in which case, I do apologize in advance if I call you guys, little bit stupid, right? A little bit silly, which is the tweet in question over here. Just gonna pull this right up. So apologizing in advance because I'm a very peace, love, and happiness guy. This is the tweet that I'm referring to. honkaistarrail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen, either by greed or stupidity. Change my mind. Frankly speaking, this little sentence over here, I did construct it in such a way that it could have been phrased nicely. Right, it could have been phrased nicely. So if you were offended and you wanted to die, you wanted me to kill myself because I called you either greedy or stupid, I'm sorry, man. It is what it is, right? So with that established, let's just jump right in. Right? If there are any content creators that would like to debate, that would like to try to change my mind, and I don't mean starting drama when you have like zero understanding of what's going on, like actual discussion, feel free to give me a call. I am accepting and I am calling out an open 1v9. Anyone, any place, anyone, anywhere, you can feel free to call me, and I would love to try to get you to change my mind. The only rule I have is you watch the entire video. I don't care if you watch it in 2x speed, 3x speed, 5x speed. You have to watch the entire video to understand what I have to say, right? So with that, I summon these summoners. Join me in mid lane 1v1 right now. So I don't really need to get involved with the situations in other games like Genshin Impact or One Waves or whatever the hell. But honkaistarrail is my game, right? It is my favorite game. And currently, I have enough mana. I have finished channeling my ultimate 2 days ago. And now, it's time to cast it. So, introduction. How did this all begin? A little bit over, as of this time of recording, it's 1 day ago. But by the time this video goes out, it's going to be tomorrow. So 2 days ago, all right, as of this time of recording, because I'm speaking from the future, I made this little tweet that may or may not have caused a little bit of teeny weeny bit of uproar amongst the content creators, right? And people that play Honkai Starbucks. Once again, honkaistarrail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen, either by greed or stupidity. Change my mind. This is the second most viewed tweet in my entire life. Second to the QQ man. Insane, right? 500,000 overviews and counting, and that were a lot of people. I think almost every single Honkai Starbucks content creator started to jump on me. My own family, my own brothers and sisters, they started to jump on me because they lack the reading comprehension, right? So we have Box 2, the infamous Honkai Starbucks expert. Nah, bro, honkaistarrail has a power creep problem, and you can't just not allow it to happen. You can make smarter pools, but that doesn't solve the power creep. It just makes it slightly less bad. You're not taking into account people with shit luck, like what if it takes me max 180 pools to get a new character here and there, blah blah blah. And of course, people are saying like, hey, add this kind of stuff. So that's gonna be one example. We have some gooners here and there. We have Gacha Smack, Uncle Smack himself. I would love for you and me to sit down and take a good long gander at every single band that ever released in honkaistarrail along their context, and then you walk me through this 5,000 IQ stage of the 6-pass strategy of avoiding the power creep problem with only battle/monthly pass purchases. Don't even care about the free-to-plays. The banner aggression paired with resource acquisition and 50/50 is simply too abysmal, regardless of horizontal and vertical pathing plans inside. You have videos on the channel that have aged my mildew to power creep, as I'm sure all of us do, and this is an exemplar exemplary corporate slop glopping, but I still love you, man. Right? So that's gonna be another one. And then I kind of scroll down this a little bit aside from all the people sending me death threads. Or we have a Captain Cabinets. What is bro waffling about? Only if you allow it to happen. You can kind of read all that. I'm not gonna read all that yet, but feel free to take a look at it. I don't think Tecton retweeted me, but bro just started instigating war for fun. And alongside with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of creators basically saying I should basically kill myself. Right? How dare I say this? And luckily for you guys, I'm an Eastern CC. I don't go into an argument without doing my due diligence. I wouldn't make out a tweet like this without having the preparations beforehand. So unfortunately, you are all basically at like 10 HP. And I am the Yasuo about to cast Hosagi and So to first understand what the hell is going on with this tweet, majority of Twitter took great offense to my statement, saying that I'm unrelatable, right? I'm a shell, I'm a whale, right? People have no pool, schizo, kill myself the whole night. Luckily for us, I'm chilling, right? I know Tecton already made a video talking about this briefly, but I will just be explaining my point today. This is gonna be a pretty long-ass video. I have prepared extensively for this video that's about to come up, which is honkaistarrail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen, either by greed or stupidity. Now that I've said the sentence, I need you guys right now to pause this video, stop scrolling through your phone, stop staring at Firefly's tits, just stare at this sentence for 5 seconds and really let this simmer down and understand what the hell I'm trying to say. Okay, now that you have read this sentence, you have constructed your thoughts, hopefully you understood a little bit better. The first part of this video, explaining my statement, right? So there are a couple of video creators out there. So we do have Tecton, the man himself, saying that, okay, I'm not sure if this is what he's saying, but he's putting this, there's no power creep on top of my face. And then we also have another creator like VSV Viction. honkaistarrail has no power creep, right? So these are the little silly goobers that failed to understand the sentence when it is literally in the first 5 words. Verbatim. honkaistarrail has a power creep problem. Verbatim. So yes, I 100% acknowledge there is a power creep problem in honkaistarrail. So that already removes half the retards that think that I feel there's no power creep. If you're offended by that, I'm sorry. Maybe try reading better, right? I'm not talking specifically about VXV or like Tecton for making these like clickbait titles. Even though fuck y'all, because y'all both know I need to, kill these about the bitches that come to my channel thinking I said shit like honkaistarrail has no power creep, right? I'm more specifically talking about the people that got baited by these lies. It is legit just straight up just lies, right? So it is what it is. I'm standing my ground and we'll move forward. So the definition of power creep, verbatim from Wikipedia. Power creep, noun. The situation where successive updates or expansions to a game introduces more powerful units or abilities, leaving the older ones underpowered. honkaistarrail, as with every single gacha game in the goddamn market, will always have power creep. And the only people saying that it doesn't are their glazers, right? We have Scylla's ultimate, right? I literally pulled up right here. I came prepared. We have Scylla's ultimate dealing, 425% of the base multiplier, compared to a couple of versions later, Phase Shell almost doubling of that. Alright, this is the most egregious example of a straight up raw damage number multiplier power creep. We have Sparkle. She was great, right? Skill points, action very advanced, and then 4 patches later, it came out with Barbin and Sunday. Completely basically wiping her off the face of the planet. Lingsha nowadays literally deals more super break damage than Firefly in a 5-target scenario. Acheron with or without Jiaozhou nowadays is basically like a completely different unit compared to start. And don't even get me started on the HP inflation, which I have made. I have made 4 separate videos specifically addressing this HP inflation thing, right? Nobody is denying its existence. And literally last time, if you guys want to remember what happened in Memory of Chaos, the very, very first Memory of Chaos, back then, it literally took us, you could 3-star in 20 cycles. Alongside with the ridiculous amount of multipliers that we have seen for the HP going up and up and up and up and up and up and up, right? So if anything, has a much bigger power creep than the other big gachas. Because team building is and always will be the most important aspect of a turn-based game, specifically Honkai Star Rail, right? You basically have a basic skill, ultimate talent. Okay, sometimes you give the technique. There's no such thing as perfect parry. There's no such thing as perfect dodge. If you want to run a sustainless team in Honkai Star Rail, then you better damn well kill the target, because you can't dodge around like in Genshin or Wuthering Waves, right? The outcome of the battle, it would have more or less been already determined in the team building phase, right? You can't fucking do like what QT, timing, right? Swap back, negative edge, aerial combat, Kara cancel. None of that is in Honkai Star Rail. So the actual units themselves, they are a lot more significant compared to all these garbage games where there's a lot more degree of freedom for players to express their skills. It is quite literally skills, right? And for the input within the endgame content, like in Memory of Chaos or whatever, it doesn't matter as much as team building. Yes, it matters because sometimes you see like people just running it down like in PvP or whatever, but it matters less compared to the casuals. Compared to team building, which is why casuals, they love Super Break. They love Firefly, they love Super Break, because you press the fun button and the team just plays by itself, right? But that is a completely different point. My basic gist is you cannot outskill and dodge an incoming attack, right? You can't animation cancel to increase your DPS. And every single unit within Honkai Star Rail, they will have a more impact compared to all these other games. If a unit has a stronger multiplier, right? If they have straight up a stronger multiplier, if they have more synergy because of their kit, if they have a better team as a whole, they are going to be stronger, period. So once again, verbatim, for people that are fucking blind, I agree that Honkai Star Rail power creep exists, right? This is not a riddle. This is not solve this puzzle. This is quite literally verbatim exactly what I said, right? There's nothing to decipher here. So it is quite shocking to me that there are people trying to misconstrue my points within the first, not even the first 4 words. It is a little bit ridiculous. So now with that out of the way, if you still think that I've said something that upsets you, we can move on, right? But I think at this point of the video, it would have already filtered out half the people that doesn't know what the hell I'm saying. The second point, and this is the one that is supposed to be more thought-provoking, right? Specifically, I want this to encourage discussions, try to change my order. Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen, either by greed or stupidity. Now, the keyword over here, in case you guys just don't understand English, as an Eastern CC, I'm educate y'all. This allow it to happen is not referring to allowing power creep to happen. It's allowing the problem of power creep to your account. Power creep is gonna happen regardless, right? All it takes for a developer is just release a better... Big Herda is a fucking 900% multiplier on the enhanced skill nowadays. You can't let power creep happen because that's on the devs. But whether or not it's a problem on your account, now, that's something that you allowed to happen. And no, it is not by swiping. It is not that you can solve this problem with the power of wallet, right? Because if this was the case, there wouldn't be a single free-to-play player left playing Honkai Star Rail. There wouldn't be a single free-to-play player left that can clear all 3 endgame content with 3 stars for everything for the past, I think at this point we have like 16 patches, right? And yet, we still consistently see these free-to-play accounts, different free-to-play accounts, getting full star clears, sometimes even going for 0 cycles. So why is this the case then? Does anyone want to make a guess? I'll be honest, right? This point, like I mentioned at the start of the video, I definitely phrased it a little bit more provocatively, right? As pointed out by Fob Master, I had a call with him yesterday, as well as even, I think Zajev retweeted me as well. Let me try to find Zajev. Yeah, this is quite literally like an Avengers level thread. I have combined and caught together the entirety of like across Honkai Star Rail, and now even Zajev is like up in my ass, right? Setting aside how this is probably intentionally abrasive language to bait engagement, it is kind of an interesting take. So like, deadass, both Fob and Zajev, they are right. I definitely phrased it a little bit more abrasively, right? I definitely phrased it a little bit more abrasively. I could have said, verbatim what Fob told me the other day, I could have said, Honkai Star Rail's power creep problem is fine if you are smart. Right? I think that would have made less people angry because people don't like to be called stupid, right? Ooh, that's very, very sad. But that being said, though, I am feeling a little bit more chaotic when I was posting this tweet. So if you are offended by this tweet, I'm guessing specifically this final word, stupidity, it is one of two things. You are not smart. You are not smart. You are getting defensive because your account is bricked, but you refuse to accept the reality that you were greedy, you were stupid, or you were both. Very likely, you're probably both. Or the other hand is you feel that you are smart, but you're just a little bit too sensitive on the internet to be offended by the word stupidity, right? So to that, I would say grass is right outside, right? Just walk out the door, touch it, and then we can move on with life, and we can all be very, very happy. So we will now get into our main argument. Greed and stupidity. Now, first of all, I'm not immune to this. Nobody in the gachaverse that plays gacha games, they are immune to this. Right? We see the latest waifu, right? We look at them, the story building, right? The art, the animations, the lore, the yabe stuff. On top of honkaistarrail, I'm just going to be talking about honkaistarrail for here. They artificially upsell the banners that are on release. Right now, Memory of Chaos, Epoch Shadows, Pure Fusion, all three endgame modes, they are tailored to a 5 target scenario with the trotters dealing AoE effect, right? It is artificially designed to upsell the Herta, right? To make these endgame content easier if you were to pull for this brand new limited 5-star, right? So combining this with like the whole lore and the mindset of a gacha player, like how can you skip Firefly when she literally died for you in the story and then she came back and she wants to be your girlfriend? There's no you're skipping Firefly, right? Even though if your account just put for Robin, you just put for Blue Hill, but oh my god, it's Firefly. I need her now, right? So unfortunately, the hardest choice requires the strongest of wills in the gacha game, right? So gacha games inherently, they will always have this predatory nature, right? You know it, I know it, we don't have to beat around the bush. Every single gacha player knows that a gacha game is predatory, right? We don't have to convince anyone else that it's not. There isn't a single gacha game in the current market that is not predatory. But you're still here watching my video. You're still playing Honky Starbucks. You're probably still playing Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero, Genshin Impact. As long as you're part of my audience, you are probably still playing these gacha games despite knowing the fact that they are predatory. Why is that the case then? Why is that the case? I really think that this is a very interesting psychology kind of thing that nobody has ever brought up before until I triggered the entirety of Honky Starbucks space, right? So here is my thought. Aside from content creators that play these games for a living, right? Because we are quite literally earning money from playing these games. The general population, the general people, the casuals, they want waifus, right? They want to have a pretty easy and chill game, just log in like 5-10 minutes, you know, while still having a good amount of gameplay, press a couple of fun buttons, stare at their stats, feel good. They want to flex that, oh my god, my waifu is cooler than your waifu. My build has 10 crit value more than your build. Your build is dog shit, right? And sometimes they want to like do a couple of zero cycles here and there to show that they are very, very good at a gacha game, despite being hard stuck still for the past 3 years, right? Above all these, there's one common point. Gacha players want to win, right? They want to have the feeling of being lucky, of winning a 50-50, of an early 5-star, of getting a double, triple, quadruple 5-star, right? Of proving that they are better than other players playing the same game. Of proving that they are him. Unfortunately, you are not him. If you are playing a gacha game, you are not him. You're probably somebody that is, I don't know, swiping his mom's credit card to get the 8,080 stellar jades for like $100 after you filled your 50-50 Yanqing for the 4th time, right? You're probably someone that got laughed at by your friends in real life after they saw your Firefly profile picture. You're probably someone that never saw the sight of a gym or even a treadmill. You're probably eating junk food right now while watching this video. You are in fact not him, and you did not win while playing a gacha game. In full transparency, this was for like cinematic, dramatic, like entertainment purpose, right? I love all players. You guys are all very, very good people, right? Please don't kill me, right? This is all for entertainment purpose, right? Moving on, aside from the normal gacha game issue that plagues basically every single gacha player, I will just specifically talk about greed and stupidity in Honkaistarrail, right? So this is mainly tied to the, I would say, the more casual player base that wants to chase waifus while still feeling entitled to effortlessly clear all 3 endgame content at max stars and Honkai Starbucks. Now, don't get me wrong, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to chase waifus, right? Fei Xiao is quite literally like, yeah, she's making dinner for me right now. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to chase waifus, but I would unfortunately have to cast my out on these same waifu chasers that want to discuss power creep and meta and like what's optimal when most of them don't even know what the hell is a Robin or play with the action very advanced in the screen. I'm talking about you, Box 2. I'm just kidding. I love Box 2, right? So this point can be illustrated right here. I'm just gonna show, I'm not saying that he's the example of like every single player, but I'm gonna have to kill bro to illustrate a point, right? Let me pull this up real quick. This was one of the commenters that I decided to make an example of. Unfortunately, bro got ratioed way too hard. He has really deleted every single post, so you can't really see what he posted anymore. But here is the general breakdown, because luckily for me, I kept receipts. So I put up this tweet, right? I put up this tweet, and there were a lot of people that were replying to this tweet. At the start, I was kind of entertaining some of them. This was one example, one of the many hundred examples. So there's this guy right here, not NCG, this Katarina no Kami. So bro basically made a point of literally getting almost every support character. He says that with his eyes open because he literally skipped Robin. And now my account don't do damage because I can't keep up with the 930,363 character banners. So I called him out. I called him out because he attached this screenshot right here. He has Fugue, Lingsha, Argenti, Rame, Ratio, Black Swan, Aircron, Jade, a couple of the standard characters here and there. So I said this. He pulled for units like Argenti and Jade. And then he skipped Robin, Jiao Qiu, and Sunday. He proceeds to say that he lost every single 50-50 ever since the first Jingliu banner, but somehow he still manages to get his hand on Argenti, Black Swan. Both of these units coming before Robin. And he decides to also pull for Jade. So this is a classic example of a waifu chaser that wanted to chase for their waifu, chase for the husbandos, and then at the same time they feel that, oh shit, why am I not clearing content? So he replied to me, right? He replied to me, Argenti is cool. Is underappreciated AF. Black Swan. My account back then was DOT based with Kafka. We all had DOT account. Sure. Jade is mommy. And one of my strongest team is a elation one. Now, the moment I see bro classifies his team as being strong, being elation, he probably does not even play any of the endgame. He's probably literally playing simulated universe, right? So I said something like this. Maybe don't participate in like a meta discussion while you're pulling with your dick. And bro got so embarrassed that he unfortunately deleted everything, and he actually approached me in the DMs apologizing and saying that, okay, I'm sorry, I was being a retard and I just want to have a civil discussion. I'm like, you know what? Fine. He apologized. All is love, peace, and happiness. I'm not trying to single bro out specifically, right? Definitely not, right? I don't even know who he is. I have nothing against him. He's not very iconic. He is a random chatter. But it proves to show my point, which is a lot of these so-called waifu chasers, right? These waifu chasers, they are in the mindset where they think they can pull all these units and suddenly they have a, oh my god, surprise Pikachu, why the fuck am I not dealing any damage? So this could be one of the reasons why so many people are triggered by me simply speaking facts. Albeit it is a little bit more blunt, right? It probably hurt his feelings a little bit when I said, why would you pull Argenti and Jade and then you skip Robin? And then he thinks that I hate Argenti or Jade, right? So maybe I hurt his feelings a little bit, but I have a feeling this is not a minority of the player base, right? With that point being established, I will now move on to the Honkai Starbucks cycle. and kind of showing you guys how power creep is happening. Again, if you forgot my very first tweet, the very first sentence, power creep in Honkai Star Rail, it exists. I'm not denying this. Alright, so let's see why this is a problem. Why this is a problem. And in order to illustrate my point, I would like to quote this great man, G. Michael Hoff. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Why would I use this quote here? Right? Oh my god, Honkai Star Rail is like a fucking gacha game, bro. You are crazy. You're schizoing out. You're in the thick of it, right? You're in the thick of it. To use this as a comparison of Honkai Star Rail. So let's think of Honkai Star Rail in the good days, in the good times, right? Since 1.0. And I do want you guys to really think this logically with me. Honkai Star Rail, it started off easy. MOC was easy, alright? The health pool was like 1/10 of what we have nowadays. You had 20 cycles to clear 3 stars. There was no such thing as 3 different endgame content. HP inflation did not exist. You could literally beat the fuck out of Cocolia using Hook the Great. Jingyuan and Scylla on release, they were both tier 0. Right? Silver Wolf was the next coming of Jesus Christ. And we didn't know how Robin is gonna destroy the meta for crit DPS, much less to say how Subric was gonna be the thing. Nobody knows any of these are gonna happen, right? The list goes on and on and on and on. And during this period, between version 1.0 up to, I would say, version 1.6, which is the release of Run Mei, a lot of people in Honkai Star Rail, they were just running whatever, and they didn't really feel this difficulty in the endgame content. Using whatever the hell you want to use, you had 20 cycles to 3-star the floor, and guide makers, myself included, right? We always stress on the priority of playing a gacha game is to have fun. It shouldn't be chasing meta. It shouldn't be optimizing your team. The main priority of Honkai Star Rail and every single gacha game is to have fun, alright? Because this is, at the end of the day, a very casual side game. You're not meant to play like 8 hours a day learning speed tuning, action value advance, team building optimization, predicting what the next banner is going to be. You don't need to do all that. It is a very simple casual side game. And even to this day, I would say that this should still be your #1 priority in Honkai Star Rail, which is to have fun, right? So if you want to prove who you like, and you hate the way Robin looks, you hate how she keeps fucking singing non-stop, rise up to my world, you hate how bro just has like a, what the hell is Bob? Yeah, you just hate bro, right? You hate bro for whatever reason, you want to skip her, you are well within your rights to skip Robin. Absolutely, right? But there wasn't that big of a deal when you skipped all these like strong characters back then, because the sentiment for Honkai Star Rail was that it was quite easy, right? And if you want to think about it, I feel like we had a very similar discussion for another gacha game. This game was very easy. And all of a sudden, but I digress, right? Most people, since version 1, they probably wouldn't bother on team building, playing on what to do, and they lack the foresight. Because you didn't need a foresight back then, right? You didn't need to think, is Robin gonna break? My Scylla is dealing 0 cycles using Ting Yun, Pella, and a sustain. Nobody is gonna be worried about Scylla. She's so strong. Jingyuan is so strong. Oh my god, Silver Wolf applies like a 50+% defense reduction. She's so good. She one-shots everybody. Nobody was thinking of what's happening in the future because everybody was content with the situation they were in. Good times. Unfortunately, this is when people ignore this pretty important thing right here. Aside from the HP inflation, aside from the requirements for more different endgame modes, I think most people didn't really realize this particular thing. Memory turbulence. So memory turbulence, right? This has been a mechanic in Honkai Star Rail since 1.0. It is not like all of a sudden we get this trotter dealing 290,000 damage today. Ever since 1.0, if you have played Scylla, you have played Jingyuan, the buff for 1.0 was, I quote this verbatim, for at the beginning of each cycle, randomly cause an ally following the path of Hunt or path of Erudition to take action immediately and increase their damage dealt by 50% for 1 turn. This has been with us since 1.0, and it basically made your units that were following Hunt or Erudition feel a lot stronger. Why? Because the unit back then was a Hunt banner Scylla as well as an Erudition banner Jingyuan, right? 1.1 would have been the first time players felt the difference of their DPS without that buff, right? And it was the start of filtering out whether or not you pull for the latest mechanic that makes the rate up unit stronger, or are you content with your DPS that you put at a value without this artificial inflation because of this Memory of Chaos buff. So people who know, right, they know how impactful Memory of Chaos buffs are. They also would notice that Honkaistarrail's endgame is starting to become more difficult. Refer to my HP inflation video. There's HP inflation going on. From 20 cycle, it went to 15, and then it went to 10 cycles. They introduced MOC 12. They introduced Pure Fission. They introduced Epoch Shadows. So all this time, on top of the fact that they are making the enemies more difficult, Honkaistarrail is not going to be easy forever compared to version 1 days, right? It is slowly ramping up its difficulty, especially for players that still did not give a shit. They are still clueless. They are still, oh shit, let me just play 3 DPS and 1 sustain, and let me just beat all the stuff, right? They are still clueless when all these things are slowly happening over time, and now you can kind of see this as like a snowball effect, right? When Pure Fission first came out, everybody laughed at Pure Fission. Oh my god, there's only 4 stages, and it was so easy, and nobody gave a shit, right? And even nowadays, Pure Fission, I feel that something similar is gonna happen very, very soon. They reworked Pure Fission. They made it extremely, extremely easy in Pure Fission for this current patch. I feel that players who are smart, I'm not going to say dumb anymore because too many people are offended, players who are smart would know this Pure Fission won't be easy forever. Alright? You don't need to be a super genius to figure out that this has been the pattern ever since 1.0. So, moving on into the argument for whether or not you can clear this endgame as a free-to-play, right? For my channel streaming in Honkaistarrail, I have done this thing called account reviews for 1 year plus, close to 2 years, right? It is kind of like data sampling where I see what people's accounts look like. I have done it when I was free-to-play. I've done it when I made it, paid reviews. I've done it like whale reviews. I have seen account reviews where some of them look so fucking bad. They have dog shit relics. They have like, 10% crit rate, 100% crit damage still. They look so bad, and yet they can still 36-star Memory of Chaos with a very, very limited roster. Because these like free-to-plays, these low spenders, they decided to invest in this comp that they put for, right? They raised up these comp that they put for because a free-to-play, they are not able to chase the shiniest banner every single time. It is simply impossible, right? It is not possible for every single free-to-play to just, okay, this new unit come out, I pull this. Next unit, I pull this. I pull this. It is not possible. So instead of trying to take every single new unit that comes out and all of them look super, super strong because of the Memory of Chaos bars, right? They instead just say, okay, you know what? Fine. My account is not going to be that strong anymore because this buff is not tailored for the account that I put. The unit that I put last time. So I'm just gonna chill and I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. And I'm gonna wait for units that actually benefits my account instead of chasing the next shiny thing. These account reviews that I see, right, like literally free to plays with like really, really bad Reddit quality because they can't spam stamina refresh. They mainly put vertical investments on powerhouse supports, namely units like Robin and Runmate, right? They didn't have a very wide team comp because, like I mentioned, they can't afford it. They simply cannot afford it. Sometimes they get a signature light cone for their main DPS, right? A Aircron with signature or an Aircron without signature, or maybe even a DPS Eidolon. These players, it doesn't have to be like Aircron. They can be Scylla mains, they can be Jingliu mains, they can be DOT. Fuck, they can even play Blade. All these players, I'm not saying that it is encompassing of the entire player base because clearly there are players on Twitter complaining that their Jingliu and Scylla does absolutely nothing. But these smart players, they can all clear these endgame content consistently. And I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about just clearing them, even though they stuck with their Scyllas, Jinglius, DOT, and Blade. Are they whales? Or did they just pull for every single unit? No, they're not. There's a reason why these free-to-play accounts or like low 5-star investment teams can still clear the endgame. You can see YouTube. You can see YouTube, you can see Billy, you can see any of these media platforms. The reason why this is the case is not because they spend $1 billion, because they're literally free to play. It is because they weren't greedy and they weren't stupid enough to chase the latest things that comes out. They know that, okay, I'm going to build this team up and I'm going to log in and make this team as strong as I can be, because every single time if I were to just chase the newest unit, it's just not going to happen. If free-to-plays, if every single free-to-play were fucked because power creep is a problem for every single free-to-play, let me just go back to my tweet real quick. If every single free-to-play had this power creep problem, right? It is a problem for everyone. If this was the case, then there wouldn't be a single free-to-play player left playing Honkai Star Rail, because they legit cannot clear the endgame. Even though they're optimizing, they're being sweaty. If HP inflation was such a big problem, if power creep was such a big problem, they'll all quit. And yet, this is not the case. Power creep exists 100%. For like, I think the 5th time I'm saying, power creep exists in Honkai Star Rail. But the problem, if this was this problem, it will only come to account if you were either greedy for all of the shiny new units and you were not smart enough to figure out what was the proper investment for team building. If you were attracted by everything, you are 100% going to run out of pools at some point, especially as a free play, leading to maybe you had to skip a banner, right? Okay, you saw a boot hill. He's a robot. And then you saw like Firefly. Oh shit! I pulled them and now I don't have enough pools for Robin. Then like, ooh, then sometimes you get punished because you have to skip Robin. Sometimes it's not so bad, right? Sometimes, you know, you pull for, let's just say you pull for Jingliu, and then you don't really want to pull for Argentina or Huan Huan. You ran out of pools for Argentina and Huan Huan. It's fine. You technically don't need them because the banner right after Argentina and Huan Huan was Run Mei. So sometimes you get punished, sometimes you don't get punished. And this brings me to probably my most important point. Just because I'm right, just because this is a fact that you cannot build these teams up due to this, it doesn't mean that I will be understood by majority of the players in Honkai Star Rail. Because majority of the gacha players that play Honkai Star Rail, they are not smart. Respectfully, right? Most casual players, they are not smart, right? And I don't want to say dumb again because I know people are getting very, very sensitive. You are basically playing a gacha game. You're paying to lose. You're staring at anime women. And I wouldn't understand, or rather, I wouldn't expect players to understand crit value, speed tuning, or even all these like basic team building, right? While, fortunately for me, majority of my content is catered towards people who want to learn more, be it whether it's like team building or like pool advice, I still have a pretty decent influence within creators and Honkai Star Rail, anyone that play Honkai Star Rail, right? So, unfortunately, this tweet, it is going to offend the casuals who are greedy and stupid. It is just a matter of fact. So the example I think you guys have seen just now is this point right here. It's not representative of everyone, but I would say this is probably a large majority of the casual audience, right? So at this point, you might be doubting me, right? You might be saying, oh my god, MrPokke, why if I lose 50-50? Why if I just don't have enough pools, right? Free to play just don't have enough pools and all that kind of stuff. Let's do a fun little experiment. I call this the Bob experiment. Let's do this Bob experiment, right? I have pulled up right here. So this little website, it allows us to see every single banner that we have seen from 1.0 all this way to almost 3.0, right? So let's do an experiment, Bob. We will try this up until 1.6 because 1.6 is Run Mei's banner. And I believe the ownership rate for Run Mei is around 90-ish plus %. Almost everybody pull Run Mei, which means most people would have the Stellar Jades for Run Mei. So what happened to the people that actually ran out, right? After you pull for Run Mei and you're completely dry. So let's take a look at the 14 different banners between 1.0 all the way up through Run Mei, right? This is not emotions, this is simply facts from 1.0 all the way through Run Mei. So when you take a look at the 14 different banners from Scylla, Fusion, blah blah blah, almost every single banner here is a DPS banner. The only exception is Luocha, Fuxuan, Huan Huan, and Silver Wolf. Every other banner here is a DPS. That's it. So between these 10 different DPS banners, right? How likely is it that you got tempted by them at any point of time? So we're gonna use Bob as an example, right? Bob. So let's say Bob is a day one player, right? He started, oh shit, honkaistarrail. I'm a pull Scylla. I'm just gonna pull Scylla. I'm gonna have fun. I'm a free to play. We pick Scylla for team 1. And we are not thinking about pulling for team 2 yet. Because literally the game just started. Nobody's thinking about bringing 2 different teams unless you're Whale. So he just pulled for Scylla. And then he doesn't need a second DPS. He's chilling. Then 1.1 gets teased. It's going to be Silver Wolf and Luocha. Now, whether or not Silver Wolf was a bait, that is a completely different point. But let's just say he decided to pull for Silver because, oh my god, Quantum Witness Implant. And let's just be real, guys. When Silver Wolf came out, it was a huge buff to Scylla in 1.0 because Elemental system was still quite annoying to deal with. And her ability to allow this Scylla to ignore and just implant Quantum, she was still very useful back when she first launched. And I don't think anyone would try to argue with it. Unfortunately, she didn't age well, but that is a topic for another. So let's just say Bob decides to pull for Silver Wolf. Now, he would love to have a Luocha, right? He would love the Luocha because, his Bailu just keeps dying or whatever. But he doesn't have enough pulls. He doesn't want to commit all in yet. So he just decides to pull for Scylla and Silver Wolf. So at this point, he has the elemental coverage. And this Scylla team, as a core team 1, would have been pretty strong. You have access to units like Ting Yun, you have access to units like Pella, and you just run a sustain. This team would have been a very strong team back in version 1.1, right? Then, 1.2 gets teased. It was Blade and Kafka. Now, I'm not sure if you guys remember how the banner was like when Blade and Kafka was announced. Memory of Chaos buffs, they were tailored to these banners. We had a DOT buff for Kafka, and then we had this Blade buff where they were tailored for these 2 banners. Now, I would say that this was the very first test of whether you are a greedy and stupid player between if you are smart or not, right? Because while both Kafka and Blade, they were pretty strong, right? I think on release, they were definitely very strong. People were saying like Kafka is better than Jingyuan, right? This was a sentiment back in version 1.2. While they are both very strong in their own rights, and it can also allow Bob to build up a second team, right? Since, he can just start... He would be really stretched on his Stellar Jades. Because this means that he would have put a unit every single patch. And that's assuming that he actually won the 50-50, right? So if he was to commit to this version 1.2 banner, let's just say he, on average, got a 5-star in 100 pulls, right? Half of them lost, half of them won. It is like the definition of living from paycheck to paycheck. You are not saving up all these Stellar Jades because oh shit, Kafka has tits. She's Dekai. DOT is great. It's gonna be the best thing. But the thing is, it wouldn't have been necessary for Bob to start constructing this team too. Because at the end of the day, if we are talking about a casual player base, most of them wouldn't need to care about this that much. Right? So, if Bob made the right choice here, if Bob decides to not pull for 1.2, he will wait for the drip marketing in 1.3. And then he sees Imbibitor Lune and Fusion. So, once this drip got released, because the drip released during their patch, right? So you would have knowledge that these 2 banners are the banner right now, and these 2 banners are the banners coming up. Most smart people would say, oh shit, Fu Xuan is absolutely massive. She looks like she's gonna be super comfortable. The live stream showcase what she's gonna do, damage mitigation. I really want Fu Xuan. So at this point, if Bob was gonna be smart, he would consolidate all into this team 1, try to pull for Fu Xuan, and you will have a team of Fu Xuan, Silver Wolf, Scylla, and 1 more 4-star support, be it Pella or Ting Yun. At this point, where players are arguing, I'm pretty sure some of you guys, oh my god, but what if you want to build 2 teams? What if you want to pull for Imbibitor Lune, which is like super strong, and I want to start like full clearing all these endgame content, which is basically Member Chaos, right? This argument that you need 2 teams for endgame is by itself a unrelatable argument. Because more than 90% of the player base right now, they don't even clear MOC 12. If you clear MOC 12, you are part of the 10% or maybe even less than that try for these endgame content. Back then, it was not even 12, it was MOC 10. And if you were really a very sweaty player and you wanted to push for Memory of Chaos, you would have either became like greedy because you wanted to push for the sake of pushing, or you started spending money. Do you need to pull a unit just to clear Memory of Chaos? I think I've said this since day 1. The income for Memory of Chaos 10 was 720 Stellar Jades. The cost it takes for you to do a 100 pool, assuming they lose the 50-50 on average, is 16,000 stellar jades. So it really doesn't take a genius to figure out that pooling for MOC is a stupid choice. Back to my point, stupidity. It is a stupid choice to try and pool for 2 teams at that point, because you're literally like cracking 1 billion eggs for like one teeny little game, right? So that is going to be that. Moving on, right? Moving on, let me go back to the warp chart real quick. Now that bro has decided to lock in for Fu Xuan, right? He sees the next banner. Jing Liu. Oh my god, bro. Jing Liu. Okay, I need to drink some water, bro. Jing Liu. Oh my goodness. Right, Jing Liu released. Or not released yet, teased. Drip marketing live stream, they showcase her kit alongside Topaz and Scylla. He's like, holy shit. My first team is more or less complete now. I have Scylla, Wolf, Fu Xuan, and one more force as well. I think I really want Jing Liu right now to build up my second team. I'm sick and fucking tired of using QQ for the 10 billionth time and missing out. I want this 5-star DPS. And he is 100% valid to feel that, because Jing Liu on release was broken. And I really don't think anyone will argue. I think people really dilute the point of how strong a unit is, because they measure a unit's value from like 10,000 years ago compared to the unit right now. On release, Jing Liu was completely busted. It was one of the best DPS that the free-to-play can build, because you had a 50% additional crit rate, and the multipliers was basically the highest over time compared to units like Jing Yuan, Scylla, and all that kind of stuff, right? So on release, Jing Liu was insane. Now, between Jing Liu and Topaz, I know there was this sentiment that, okay, I'm not gonna drop, Gacha Smack, right? Gacha Smack is one of those players that Topaz is gonna be an excellent. I think EO also said Topaz is gonna age like wine, because Topaz is gonna be good in the future when we get more flop teams and everything. This exact sentiment of planning for the future is what fucks up the player, because they are constantly trying to predict, oh my god, what's coming out, oh my god. They ignore what's the now. If you were somebody that put for Topaz instead of Jing Liu, let's just be real, you are gonna have a more difficult time, because on Topaz banner launch, she had no teammates, right? Follow-up thing was not a thing. You running Topaz with Kalala is gonna be performing far worse than a hyper carry Jing Liu team, and nobody would debate me on this. So this is a result of trying to plan way too far ahead, which inevitably leads to your account at that point of time becoming weaker, right? So if right, there's two choices here. If Bob decides, I'm a casual, I don't even want to care about Jing Liu, I don't even want to care about Topaz, I'm still chilling, I skip. He just run his, Serval, his QQ or whatever, just clear early floors, then that's fine. If he wants to pull for Jing Liu, that is also completely valid, right? That is also completely valid. A free-to-play would have enough currency to get bro. And at this point of time, once 1.4 Jing Liu is released, he will see the patch teaser for 1.5, which is going to be Hue and Argentine. It's Hue and Argentine, right? So if Bob decides, okay, I see Hue, I see Argentine, fuck it, I don't need them, I don't need Argentine, I want Jing Liu. He goes all in for Jing Liu. He loses the 50-50 for Jing Liu. At this point of time, Bob would still have the entire duration of 1.5 to save, which will secure his position of guaranteeing run-mate. And that would be our Bob simulation, right? So this is Bob, a player that basically kind of made the right choice at every step along the way without knowing the future, without knowing what's Robin, without knowing what's Ray. Based on what he had at that point of time, he made basically all the right choices, right? We account for 50-50 win, 50-50 loss, no like or whatever. He has Scylla, he has Wolf, he has Fu Xuan, he has Jing Liu. Assuming that he averaged 100 summons each, that is, assuming that you win half, lose half, right? That is 400 summons spent across 1.0 through 1.5. I will get into the income of free-to-plays later. I have the numbers, and I will guarantee you that is way more than enough to secure run-mate by 1.6, right? Easily, right? So, at this point, he doesn't know, right? He doesn't know that Silwu is going to be useless. Oh, Silwu is... he doesn't know. And he doesn't know that Scylla is like, oh, going forward, Face Xiao, Acheron, my fucking Face Xiao does twice the damage of ultimate damage. He doesn't know all that, right? He only needs to know that this was the best choice with what knowledge he has at that point of time. So, back to me, right? Bob, thank you, Bob. Now back to me. Back to me. Thank you, Bob. Applying this concept of focusing down, not getting tempted by units like Blade, Kafka, not getting tempted by all these different shiny things. If you apply this concept of focusing on a narrow team and building them up, to this day, Bob can very well still use his Jingliu and Scylla if he wanted to. He can pull for the Lycones eventually. He can pull for the Eidolons eventually. He starts pulling for diabolical supports like Robin, E1 Robin. He can still make Jingliu and Scylla a version 1 DPS viable to this day. I guarantee you there's a clear somewhere out there where Scylla 0 cycles or a Jingliu 0 cycles, or not even, they simply clear the content. There's 100% a video out there somewhere. And unfortunately, a majority of the player base thinks he is a stupid one for investing in Scylla, investing in Jingliu. Fuck, maybe Bob wants to play DOT. The casual player base would think Bob is stupid because he didn't pull for all of the shiny new toys. Because he decided to invest in the team comp that he likes. He is stupid for pulling for Jingliu E1. He is stupid for pulling for Jingliu. Like, oh, but how dare he pull a Lycone in the fucking gacha game? Absolutely not. How dare he pull for E1? He is a stupid one for following his optimized build path instead of following the latest new toy. And because majority of the player base has this mindset of like, oh shit, Eidolon is bad, Lycone is bad, or if you pull for them, you're unrelatable, they fail to grasp the concept that players simply have this thing called patience. They have this thing called self-control, not being greedy, and the decision making of, even though I'm free to play, I can still make this team work if I just sit my ass down and invest in them, because I don't need to be the best team at every single patch. And unfortunately, gacha players will not think this way, so majority of them will be offended by what I say. And at this point, 5 counter arguments that I've been getting in my chat for the past 59 minutes, that I've been getting in my Twitter, that I've been getting in my community. 5 top common arguments in which you are trying to debate where power creep is still gonna be a problem. Even if you optimize everything perfectly, it is still a problem. So these are the top 5 arguments. Number 1, by the man none other than Box 2 himself. You are not taking into account the people with shit luck. Like, what if it takes me max PD 180 pulls to get a new character every single banner and you are free to play? So this argument is one of the biggest arguments that I've seen for the past 1 hour and the past 2 days, which is free to plays just don't have enough pulls. Straight up. Like, even if they wanted a unit, even if they wanted to vertically invest, they simply do not have enough pulls. Now, luckily for me, this is one of the biggest lies and misinformation that has been spreading around in Honkai Starbucks for the past couple of weeks. But luckily, as the Honkai Starbucks guy, I'm here to clean up this dog shit mess, right? I am a Eastern CC. I'm from Singapore. So I don't just come in and say, nope, there is enough pools. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the total number of pools that would have gathered from version 1.0 all the way through 2.7 up to 3.0, completely free to play. Special shout out to the Reddit user Arcus. He's the one keeping up this sheet. So this is quite literally every single pool you would have gotten, patch by patch by patch by patch. Every single thing has been recorded. In summary, right? In summary, it generally averages to roughly 102.7 pools, limited pools, per patch. So, let's crunch some numbers nowadays, alright? Let's do this exercise together, right? Let's factor in that the fact that they're free to play, they didn't start day 1, they missed a couple of logins, they didn't do their dailies, they couldn't 3-star the MOC, right? Let's assume that they didn't get this full 102 summons per patch. Let's just say they only get 90. Let's just say they get 1,600 stellar jades less every single patch. So this means that for 16 patches, assuming that you missed a couple here and there, you only get 90, you will have gotten 1,440 summons. Limited summons from 1.0 all the way through 2.7, right? And here is another number I'm going to pull up right now. Shout out to Warp Tracker, you're the best. This is the statistical data. On average, how many pulls would it take for you to get a 5-star? So I know there's this whole argument about like statistical mean, statistical max, what is the median. Okay, let's just use Jingyuan as an example, right? Jingyuan, because maybe Scylla was the day one banner, or maybe, you know, she was a little bit too, she doesn't represent the population. So let's just use Jingyuan as an example instead of Scylla. So let's take a look at Jingyuan. There were a total of 292,498 users that pulled for Jingyuan. Around 17 million summons. This is the statistics of the amount of pulls it took to get a 5-star, right? The amount of pulls it took to get a 5-star. So the statistic probability on median, which is the average, right? The median pull it took for a player to get a 5-star is 77. There are only 3 players out of the 290,000 players in the entirety of Honkaistarrail that reached 90 PD. 3 out of 292,000, right? And this is not even inclusive of a huge population of players that, you know, probably didn't even submit their data. So if bro wants to argue on, let's just assume we hit 180 summon, the statistic probability of this happening is 3 out of 290k. So it is what it is. Now, let's just entertain box 2, right? Let's just entertain box 2. This would almost be almost 100% a statistical, like it's impossible. But let's just assume that this player, he broke every single mirror. He walked across every single black cat. He did all the taboo. He touched the fucking incense sticks. He broke every single the unluckiest player in the entirety of Honkaistarrail. And he took 180 summons to pull for every single limited 5-star, right? Let's just assume this was the case, even though this is basically impossible. Guess how many 5-stars bro will end up with? Don't worry, I did the math. 1,440 summons, assuming that you get 90 per patch and he bro skip banners, divided by 180, he will exactly get 8 limited 5-stars. The literal worst, unluckiest player in the entirety of Honkaistarrail would get 8 limited 5-stars. This is inclusive of 8 different standard units. And let's just say bro got hit with a 7 Bailus and 1 Yanqing, right? He got an E6 Bailus and 1. Let's just assume that all of them are completely fucking useless, right? The literal most unluckiest person in the goddamn planet can still have 8 different limited 5-stars. So, the odds of someone not having at least 8 5-stars, if I was a betting man, if I wanted to go all in raid, I would go all in every single time, right? So that's gonna be that. And you know what's the best part about this 8 5-star thingy? We are not even factoring in the 4-star units. So you have units like Ting Yun, Pella, Gallagher, Han March 7, Harmony Trailblazer, Herda, Mini Herda. They are all completely viable. Some even dead-ass optimal for the meta for team comps since 1.0 to this day. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the way I've done my clears. I've used Ting Yun and Pella so much in my early days that I didn't even think about pulling for a 5-star for them. Number one, you didn't even have Robin, and they were basically the best they got. They were so meta that it was completely viable to not have a 5-star replace them, right? The only way, this is the most important, the only way that a player does not have enough summons to pull for the unit that they want will come on this. They are either a new player. They didn't get access to all these pulls since day one. They are a new player. They completely do not play the game. They don't play the story. They don't log in. They only log in once every 6 weeks to see if they pull, right? They got baited by the brand new shiny banner. Probably wouldn't have done well with the team that they want to build in the first place. I probably wouldn't be pulling Argenti if I wanted to build up my Jingliu. I probably wouldn't be pulling for Jingyuan and Scylla if I know I'm going to build a second team. I probably wouldn't be pulling for Huan Huan again when I already have Luo Cha and Fusion, right? I probably wouldn't pulling for Topaz when we don't even know for... Like, all these things, you probably wouldn't have done them. The fact that you did it means you got baited by these brand new shiny banner that wouldn't have contributed to the team building in the first place. And then there's one last kind of people, they're lying. They are simply lying that free-to-plays do not have enough pools. And if they were lying, that's a very, very naughty boy, right? So it is what it is. So I do understand that there are chatters on Twitter, on like the community. They are trying to either act dumb or they're trying to be really, really dumb. But the creators that are, quote, retweeting me, trying to demonstrate this point, that free-to-plays do not have enough pools. I'm not just talking about specifically Box 2. There are a lot of creators, and I can't find over, like, at this point, it's like 500 plus. I can't find any of them. But for creators that are trying to say that I'm lying, saying that free-to-plays don't have enough summon in Honkaistarrail, you guys literally play this game for a living. Why are we trying to victimize free-to-plays in Honkaistarrail like they are like fucking starving kids in Africa? This is just wild. There's no reason to pretend like free-to-plays just have like fucking no pools. When in reality, verbatim, if they actually played the damn game, they would have more than enough pools to control the teams that they wanted in the first place, right? So that would be the very, very first argument. Free-to-plays cannot keep up because they have no pools, especially after they just keep losing and losing and losing. Objection denied, right? Bam. Next argument. Old units that need Eidolon investment, they are irrelevant. Using Eidolon investments for old units, it makes it even worse, and it makes the power creep even worse. Telling people that instead of being able to pull for lots of characters and have fun, and that you should only hyper invest in certain teams where we know for a fact that an E0 3.0 is gonna clear is really, really dumb, and supporting Hoyo Greed in whaling is very dangerous. TLDR, the point kind of illustrates that all units that need Eidolons are irrelevant when you can just pull for the latest 3.0 DPS at E0 and it just shits on all the old units. That is true. E0 to E0, right? Back. Okay, I hate to bring this up, but I gotta glaze my wife a little bit. E0 facial to E0 Scylla. You know, that is 100% true. This is factually, objectively, demonstrably true, right? New units at E0 is definitely going to be strong. Not just from a base kit, from a team building perspective, the synergy they have, it is just going to be stronger, right? This was a very, very common take, right? So, let's say you were someone that decided to pull for a old unit back then. Alright, you decided to pull for Jin Liu, you decided to pull for Scylla, you decided to pull for Jing Yuan. Were they strong back then? Oh, fuck yeah, right? When Carver was out, Black Swan, they were hella fucking strong back then, right? They were hella fucking strong. One, because, you know, there was no such thing as all these brand new DPS. Two, because, you know, artificial increase of the buffs that makes all these units stronger, right? You didn't really even need the Eidolons. You didn't even need that Syndra Lycon. And at E0, S0, all these brand new units back then, which is technically old now, it can easily clear all of the endgame content, right? Now what happens when a brand new unit comes out? Do you decide to pull for the brand new unit? Because first of all, the kit is, you know, definitely stronger. And the MOC buff is boosting the new unit to a tremendous degree that makes them legit just seem broken because that endgame buff is tailored to the new unit. Or do you decide to save? Because that brand new, and I'm specifically talking about like DPS specifically, right? This old DPSs. This brand new DPS is not going to do fuck all for your old teams, right? Why the hell would you pull for, or rather, why would I pull? Why would Bob? Why should Bob pull for Boot Hill if he's already invested into, let's just say, DOT, right? Let's just say this Bob is a DOT player. Why the hell would he pull Boot Hill? Or why we even pull for Firefly, right? Bob just wants to play DOT, right? Are we gonna crucify all the players that want to play DOT just because they didn't pull for the brand new unit? Oh my god, Boot Hill is so fucking strong back then. Witness implant, blah blah blah. Break was OP. Or just because bro did not pull for Boot Hill, are we gonna say DOT players are like dog shit because they are making the wrong choice? This is a very, very, very common sentiment, right? Because if you did pull for Boot Hill, or Firefly, or whatever it is, the brand new outside, right? Because the shiny unit is doing exceptionally well, it makes you think that DOT is now unplayable. Because like, why would I try to invest in all these DOT archetypes when all these brand new units with their Memory of Chaos buffs make them shine so much on stage? It feels down, right? It feels bad, you feel sad, you are depressed, and it rinse and repeat. There's no point in me investing in DOT. There's no point investing in my 1.0 Scylla. There is no point investing in my 1.0 Jing Liu. All these units just become like stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. You give up on DOT. Bob gave up on DOT. Bob decides to play for Firefly and Zurich, right? Fuck DOT, his 2 Kafkas and Black Swan, completely irrelevant and left in the dust. And these are pools that took him, let's just say he 150, on average 80 summons. There is 160 summons bro spent on 2 limited 5 stars. They are now completely fucking useless because he gave up. It is what it is, and it's very, very sad. So rinse and repeat from there, right? You don't invest in DOT like you wanted to. You decide to split into a different team comp. And now you wonder, wait, where the fuck are all my Stellar Jades? Wait, I can't keep up, man. Wait, I'm a free to play. How can they keep releasing all these new units? Oh, where did all my Stellar Jades go? And then you look back into their account, they have like 5 different DPSs, all at E0, S0, and they're completely not even being played. It really is quite interesting to see how this really turned out once I sat down and think about it. I know a lot of players in Twitter, they don't think, right? I thought, and therefore I am cooking, and I am now casting them out. So I am going to use DOT as an example for this case specifically. If you decide, however, that you didn't pull all these new units, and you saved, and you saved, and you saved, you didn't pull, oh shit! Yo, DOT rerun, Kafka E1, Black Swan E1, fuck it, even Robin, Ramei, they're all very good for DOT. Robin's E1, which is basically one of the best E1s you can get in the entire game. They are all considerable upgrades to your DOT team. Now, other players don't need to care, right? If they did not play DOT in the first place, nobody would care whether or not a DOT banner is released. But you, Bob, you have played DOT since day one. And now finally, after so long, you skipped all damn shiny toys, DOT banner is finally back. You can finally pull for the Kafka signature. You can finally pull for the Kafka E1, Black Swan E1, whatever. You can finally pull for a Bubbin. If Bubbin, oh my god, Bubbin takes DOT, then you can finally upgrade your DOT, right? They are now stronger if you were to invest in this DOT team. Just like how you would have been stronger if you invested in the shiniest new toy. I hope what I'm saying here makes sense. Which is why you can still see DOT teams, players that want to play DOT, they will still clear every single endgame content. Sometimes they don't even need an Eidolons. Sometimes they just need an E1 Bubbin. Right? Sometimes they just run a Huan. Maybe they just have better relics. They can still, DOT still clear endgame content. Are they the best? Probably not. But they are still clearing them nonetheless. And last time I checked, Zero Cycle was not the measure of whether a unit was good or bad. Because that's completely fucking out of touch, right? So, the unfortunate truth is, if a DOT player who decides to skip all these shiny toys and they decided to pull for Eidolons, pull for Litecoins, they are now the retards. They are now labeled as the retards. They are investing in a shit unit, right? I'm sure you have seen this plenty of times. Who the fuck is pulling for Jingliu E1? Who the fuck cares about like DOT, I don't know, E1 Blade? Are you kidding me? E2 Dale? What the fuck? Like, I'm sure this statement has been like prominent throughout honkaistarrail community. If you were somebody that did not pull for the shiniest new toy and you pull for old items, you are a retard. And this is the norm now. And I'm here to fucking cast my out and husky all over your fucking faces, right? So, these are the exact same people who call these like DOT mains like stupid for investing. They are the exact same people that pull for the shiniest new toys every single time a new banner comes out. They get greedy. I want to pull this. I want to pull Yingli. I want to pull Bull. I want to pull Firefly. I want to pull everything. And then they realize they run out of pulls. And then the buff expires. Who knows next time toughness locks come to our enemy. Super break can't be a thing anymore. Who knows what's going to happen. And then they look back at their account like, oh shit. Where did all my pulls go? Why are all these DOT players clearing that endgame easier than me? Wait, I invested in Aircron. How are these DOT players clearing faster than me with an Aircron? I didn't have enough pulls for Jiao Qiu, and I hate Jiao Qiu because he's a man. Wait, why are these DOT players getting... Wait, no, that can't be right. No, this has been the case for DOT, for Scylla mains, for Jingliu mains, for Blade mains, for pretty much any of these old units. They are getting this treatment that if you put an old unit's Eidolon, you are the stupid one. And hopefully, this entire discussion clears up why the statement that all units that need Eidolon are irrelevant is just completely a stupid argument. Because if you think about it this way, where are all your strategies then? Right? You got to pull for something. You're either pulling or you're saving. So if you're somebody that's not pulling for the shiniest new toys, then can they not decide to pull for old units Eidolons because they want to keep playing DOT? They want to keep playing these old units? Or what? Are they just not supposed to pull for the rest of their lives? Ever since I started playing Honkai Star, I've seen this take a lot. And not just for this tweet, but I've seen this a lot. MrPokke is unrelatable. MrPokke is an out-of-touch whale. He doesn't know what the fuck the free-to-play is. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Bro has Oilers that gave him a free E6 S5 Aircron and E6 S5 Cycle. Ew. Shout out to my Oilers. Love you guys, right? Okay, this point. Aside from the fact that I just quite literally showed verbatim in black and white why free-to-plays who are smart would have enough pools to build a team to clear endgame content. We quite literally, if you play this game, right, if you actually log in, it is more than 1,000 summons, right? It's more than 1,000 summons from 1.0 all the way up to now. For my personal account, which is true, it is definitely an unrelatable whale account. I think monetary value-wise, it's probably way up there in the 5 digits, right? But aside from the E6 Aircron and E6 Firefly, I have my investment placed in a very wide account. It's not an account that's like E6, 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 E6. It is I've tried to pull for every single unit honkaistarrail, and this is definitely something that nobody should be doing. Nobody should be trying to pull for every single unit honkaistarrail, because if you want, you are either a waifu chaser, you're a whale, you're ridiculously lucky, and you are not trying to optimize anyways. You're just a collector, right? So nobody should be trying to get every single, especially not as a free-to-play. If you are offended, right? If you are free-to-play, you're offended that, oh my god, MrPokke said I shouldn't get everyone. Bro, work a job. It's really not that deep, right? I'm sorry, it's really just not that deep. So it is what it is. So for me personally, I pull and raise everyone, right? Almost every single one of my units, if you kind of take a look over here, almost everyone is level 80. If you are a 5-star, you're probably level 80. Everything. Everyone. Nobody should be doing this on their normal account, right? I have a few exceptions. Even all the 4s are all level 80 with like basically like Dunhing and like Misha and like Arlen, but like these are the only 4 units that I did not raise to level 80. So my point is this, right? My personal what the fuck? My personal account is a very wide account, and I pull and raise everyone so that I can make content pertaining to these units in order to relate to the players more. This sounds like a fucking crazy, ridiculous take. I swear I'm not coping. I'm not on Hopium. But me having an account with every single unit, it makes me even more relatable because I can quite literally, physically relate to players with these units. An excellent point of example is I don't have Jade, right? My current account does not have Jade and Yunli. And this actually makes me completely unrelatable to the Jade mains and the Yunli mains who want to know what the hell is going on, because I don't have them. I am not relatable to the units that I have skipped personally. I played them a little bit back then in their early access review, and then recently for D-Herd I played with Jade, and then for Yunli I played with Remembrance MC. But most of the time, my experience with these units I skip is going to be a lot smaller. I'm not sure that all content creators that do this should do this, but I do feel that for myself, and I do love honkaistarrail a lot, I want to make content that is relatable to everybody that plays anything. Anything and everything under the sun. I want to make content for you guys, which is why, hail Pokke, I am the relatable player, right? And there it is. Now, I know what you're going to say next. I know exactly what you're going to say next. How the fuck do you explain your E2 Babin then? That doesn't look very relatable. Now, some might say pulling for support Eidolons is an unrelatable move, right? Oh shit, you got me? I'm cooked? Nope. I am 3 steps ahead. I have thought of everything under the sun before I meet it. So I personally do think that what splits a player from making the wrong and the right choice is really based on their own individual account and goals, right? Now, this might be a topic for another day, but I do firmly believe that if you are a player that cares about making your account stronger, pulling for Eidolons, specifically support Eidolons, it needs to be accepted. And this is, okay, I don't want to start a whole Western versus Eastern CDC. If you want to take a look at Bilibili, nobody shuns people on Bilibili for running E1 Robin. Nobody. Because they all know it is a ridiculous Eidolon. Like they know the inherent value of a support Eidolon. It is the best support Eidolon for E1 Babin, right? Same thing for E1 Ramei, same thing for E1 Sunday if you want to pull for E1 Few. These Eidolons for your supports, they weren't seen as getting shunned because you're unrelatable. They were seen as making the smart choice. Because not only do they make your team stronger, it makes a lot of different teams stronger, all for the price of one pull. What were you gonna pull if you're not gonna pull for E1 Babin then? Oh, you're gonna pull for what? Let's just pull for, what's an example over here? Yeah, I'm gonna save my pull for Dr. Ratio rerun, so that I can pull for Dr. Ratio, because I have not played Dr. Ratio for so long. I'm not gonna pull for this upcoming. I'm just gonna save for Dr. Ratio. I mean, sure, like I said, right? You can definitely do that. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You can pull whatever you want. But my point is more like, it should stop shaming. Players need to stop shaming like people that want to make their account stronger by pulling for these valuable items, right? Majority of the player base in Honkai Star Rail, they are casual, I don't know, waifu catchers, Pokemon catchers. I don't know. A large demographic of these like waifu casual players, they shame players that pull for this like E1 Babin, E1 Rame, E1 whatever, or even DPS items, right? How dare you pull for E1 Jing or E1 Blade? It's like it's a huge damage upgrade, but how dare you pull for them? Imagine pulling for E1 Jing, which kind of goes back to my previous point of whether all DPS units needs Eidolon, so I'm not gonna hop on it too much. The flip side, the waifu catchers that complain about all these, oh my god, we shouldn't pull, they get buy loose. They pull for every single new unit, living from paycheck to paycheck. They don't save. They just, whatever they get, they just spend it all in. They don't save a single one. Oh, I'm gonna test my PD. Ooh, I'm gonna build PD. And then they get buy loose. It's like, oh shit, that's not too good, right? That's not too. You know, if anything, since players that pull for Eidolons, they're so shamed, especially in the West. Bro, I think we should just start shaming these waifu catchers more, guys. I really feel that, right? Bro, Firefly is not a real unit. Aircron is not your wife, right? And it is definitely time to take a goddamn shower. It is what it is. Okay, full transparency. That was a joke, right? That was a joke. It was for entertainment purpose. That was a joke. But my point still kind of stands is, players shouldn't be getting shamed for pulling for these Eidolons and being labeled as unrelatable, just because they got an Eidolon that has incredible benefits. Just like how like people that pull for Eidolons, you don't see them saying like, oh my god, Firefly. Okay, maybe there are always people like this, but yeah, that's basically my point, right? That's basically my point. Next, second last argument against me. There are too many new units that replace my old units. All these, the Honkai Star is releasing way too many banners. I cannot think. I cannot decide for myself. I'm confused. Schizo. Oh my god, save me. Who do I? There's just way too many units. What am I gonna do? So, if you were to not invest in the old units, for example, if you're a DOT mate and you choose to give up DOT, this is an objectively true statement, but also only kind of partially. The reason why I say it's only partially because, you know, you need to keep replacing so many units when units come out is because if you really think about it, the only units that you will replace in a team are probably your DPS. There's this argument that's saying like every single time a brand new unit comes out, you have to replace the entire team, which is a little bit silly because your sustain slot is more or less fixed. If you have a sustain that can keep a team alive, whether it be a Luocha, Fuxuan, Huan, Lingsha, Aventry, all these sustains, they can keep a team alive, it's good to go. Your supports. Okay, let's just be real, guys. If you're playing Honkai Star Rail in 2025, I don't want to like shame people that like don't care about mana, right? But if you still do not have Robin, and Robin is having the rerun like literally like in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Wait, no, 6 weeks, because it's after. No, wait, 3 weeks. Oh, wait, 4 weeks. Robin is gonna rerun in 4 weeks, and you still decide to not pull for Robin. At this point, you really gotta ask yourself, is it my problem that I want to chase waifus? Or is it the game's fault that, you know, they make these units so strong, but I just refuse to use these strong units? It's kind of like you're playing Elden Ring, right? You're playing Elden Ring, you are dying to Malenia like for like 10,000 times. But you still refuse to use summons. You refuse to wear any armor. You refuse to fucking learn to play the game. I just want to go in naked run, beat her to death with a club, and I just refuse to use anything that the game has to offer me. I look cool, right? I want to be the next, let me solo her, right? I want to look cool, but I just can't do it. Then what can you do, man? Like, really, what can you do at that point? You know, so this is the argument that I'm saying for the support skippers, right? So that's gonna be that. For the DPS though, so we have established that your supports are almost permanent. Your sustains are almost permanent. The DPS, that's the one that will most likely change quite a bit. Alright, there's an argument because the new units, they always power creep the old units specifically for the DPS. So, this is a point that kind of ties everything in together for the past 2 points. There are 2 slots remaining. You either run 1 DPS, 1 support with this 2, or 2 different DPS. Luckily for us, this slot 2, right? This slot 2, this slot 2, they have very, very accessible 4-star options. It's almost as if like people forgot that these 4 stars exist because the only thing people care about are the 5 stars, right? You have Harmony MC, you have Han March 7th, you have Mini Herta, Baby Herta, right? You have Ting Yun, you have Pella, you have Hanya. Now they might not be the best, right? Like if you want to run Ting Yun nowadays when you're at Sunday, they might not be the best. They might not be optimal, but they are 100% still viable to allow you to clear content. Like for example, if you were to run a Jing Yuan without Robin, like let's just say you run Jing Yuan with Ting Yun, Sunday, and Hui Hui, right? You run a 4-star, right? Do you think that team will still struggle to the point where they can't clear the current member of Chaos? Or like if you were to run Scylla with without Sparkle, right? You don't pull Sparkle for Scylla and then you just run like a Pella for like Aisha. Do you think these 2 teams cannot clear Memory of Chaos? So I'm talking about like 2 version 1.0 DPS. You have Jing Yuan, Ting Yun, Sunday, Hui Hui. Then Scylla, Pella, I don't know, like Fu Shen Babin, right? 2 5-star DPS, 2 4-star supports, 2 4-star, 2 5-star sustains, and 2 5-star supports. I'll leave it up to you guys if you think it is not possible to clear Memory of Chaos. So, yes, DPS, they do change quite frequently, especially based on seasonal buffs and enemies and how strong these new units are. Almost everything in Honkai Starbucks, they are at a constant once you consolidate what team you want to play, alright? Maybe even if you get a E1, E2 like Bum or whatever, it can make this team last for a much longer time, which is preventing the power creep from becoming a problem for your account. And with that, we have come to the final point, because this video is almost 2 hours long. I cooked a hell of a lot. And I am going to refer to one of my favorite gacha creators, Gacha Smack. I want to have you walk me through this 5,000 IQ stage of the 6-path strategy of avoiding power creep problem with only this income, right? Never mind free play pass. So this argument mainly stems from nobody knows what the future is going to hold for honkaistarrail. You don't know there's going to be a super break. You don't know a Robin's come out. You don't know we don't know what's caster is. What's our next? We don't know the future based on the current trajectory. At most, it's just the current patch plus the drip marketing for the next patch. That is pretty much it. So if we don't know, how can we prevent power creep? And frankly speaking, it is a very, very good point. It is a very, very good point. And most people will be like, fuck, he got me. But I am an instant. But I am 20 steps ahead. I have charged my out 20 billion years old, and I have accounted for this play, right? So the discussion about nobody knows the future, and therefore you cannot prevent power creep, is honestly very, very simple, right? This is a little bit like, okay, I'm gonna be a little bit of a finance bro here. This is a little bit like nobody knows what the hell the stock market is gonna do, right? If you guys watch Wolf of Wall Street, right, Matthew McConaughey, nobody knows if tomorrow the stock market is gonna go up, down, sideways, fucking spin in circles. Nobody knows. Nobody. You can only speculate what's coming out. And most for Honkai Starbucks, you know this, and that's it. Nobody knows what like the next 1 year, 2 years is gonna hold, right? When Robin was released, nobody knows that Sparkle is gonna get fucking shit on by Robin, and that is subsequently later by Sunday. When Super Break came out, nobody knows that Silver Wolf's quantum implant just became a complete fucking worthless. The thing is, you don't have to know. Isn't that beautiful? You don't have to know, and you can still not break your account. Why? Because as long as you're somebody that is not living paycheck to paycheck, you would have enough pools to get those strong units. Not being like prejudiced. Around 35% of the population in the world, they live paycheck to paycheck across all income levels. This technically doesn't have a lot to do with Honkai Starbucks, but it kind of brings about this similar point where if you are a player in Honkai Starbucks living from paycheck to paycheck in terms of free-to-play jades, you would not be able to predict what is going to be coming out. And even if you see what's coming out, you might not plan it. Because you are living from paycheck to paycheck without saving up and basically pulling for the shiniest thing that may not even benefit your account in the first place. And my point is this. Would you blame the market for suddenly releasing a brand new... Would you all in NVIDIA? Right? Let's just say you all in NVIDIA last week. You went all in rate, right? Would you blame yourself for going all in NVIDIA last week and now NVIDIA is down 5%? Is that your fault? Or should you have just saved a little bit and not went all in to the point where you have no more liquidity so that you can buy a little bit more NVIDIA this week? Because there are people out there in the world that don't live paycheck to paycheck, right? They don't go all in on every single banner where they have no strategies left, and they can still save up a portion of their income, in this case strategies, to pool for whatever unit is going to come out, because they will have enough to pool anyways. So this is not really for every single player, but I will argue that majority of all these like casual waifu chasers that play gacha games, it will always be the case, right? So we can always go back here. Did I close? This guy, right? So this is a bro that basically is the perfect example of someone that lives paycheck to paycheck, right? He probably didn't know that Robin is coming out, right? He lost every single 50-50 ever since Jingliu, right? He lost every single 50 ever since Jingliu, verbatim. But then bro decided to pull for Argenti and Jade because they look cool. They look cool. So if that is the case, who can we really blame if bro did not get their Robin? And his account still does not have Robin to this day, when she already got a rerun during phase out and she's gonna get another rerun later, right? Again, nothing against bro, nothing against Katarina. It is just the perfect example of the demographic that I'm addressing, right? And this is a pretty major demographic of players that are playing Honkai, especially at the casual player base, right? So with that, I'm gonna come to my conclusion right now. In conclusion, power creep is a problem. It is a problem. Once again, for the 20,000 billion people that misunderstand, power creep is a problem. Only if you allow it because of greed or stupidity. This entire conversation, this entire sentence, it wouldn't apply to you if you simply didn't care about meta, right? You simply didn't care about, clearing all the end game every single time with no effort whatsoever. It does not concern you if you are a casual player, casual waifu chaser that don't care about 3-starring endgame content. Yeah, pull for whoever the fuck you want to pull, right? Literally nobody is gonna bother you. And that is a big portion of player base that simply do not care. This vocal minority, this angry mob that I see on Twitter nowadays, they are the people that not only are trying to be casual, they are casual in their waifu collecting, they are casual in their bank account, and they're casual in their gameplay. And after having casual in all three things, they still want to effortlessly clear 3-star content. So this video is addressing to all these people. At this point, how many core retweets do I have? 358 core retweets and 300 over comments, right? With almost, at this point, almost 600,000 views. This is for those people. It is time to get a little bit of a reality check, right? Power creep exists, yes. Power creep is a problem that only exists if you were greedy or stupid. Fortunately or unfortunately, most gacha players, they are greedy or stupid. And most of the time, it's both, right? And people that felt that this take was wrong, that this oh my god, especially for people that didn't provide any valid form of discussion, they were simply offended by the truth. And that's really all there is to it. Because the truth does not care about your feelings. I still have yet to come across a single discussion where they could convince me to change my mind about this take, right? Only a very, 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 very small minority of people will not fall into this camp. Because the majority of players, they are this, right? You are greedy and stupid. And that's completely fine. I'm just saying it as it is. But you don't have to be offended. Because that's the truth, right? And being in the majority, even if majority of players, they are, greedy and stupid, it doesn't make their sentiments the right sentiment. being in the majority doesn't always mean that you're right. Most people, they are not him. So my final question, are you him? Editor, insert night glow or whatever the fuck. Okay, with that come to the end of today's content. TLDR, Pooh, Robin, join Discord, join Twitter, all the way to the see you guys next time.